What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Falcons Today. On today's show, I want to talk about a free agent target that the Falcons were listed as a best fit for, and we'll break down whether or not this would be a good player for Terry and Raheem to pursue. So let's discuss Mike Hilton, the free agent starting nickel corner, who ESPN thought would be a great fit for the Atlanta Falcons. A little bit of background on Hilton, and then we'll talk about whether or not it's a good idea for the Falcons to pursue him. But I always think you guys should know the player first. So he's a UDFA coming out of Ole Miss. He played 4 years for the Steelers and the last 4 years for the Cincinnati Bengals. So an awesome story, someone that goes undrafted and has had a long, successful NFL career as a UDFA. He's been I'd say, close to perennial starting nickel. The issue with this term starter and nickel is it's only about the first 11 guys on the defense. So if the offense comes out in a 2 wide receiver set, then you don't need your third cornerback on the field. But he has more or less been a starter, but just not technically the first snap of every single game for a vast majority of his career. But this is why the Falcons were picked as a best fit for Hilton, because Matt Bowen wrote from ESPN, a slot corner who plays with a sense of urgency. Hilton would immediately upgrade the Falcons' nickel package. The fit also works here in Raheem Morris's zone-heavy defense, 61% of opponent dropbacks in 2024. Let's get a little nerdy here for a second, because, listen, when we're talking free agent targets in February, March, we're usually under the mindset of, let's go sign the best players. Let's get some good players, right? That period is done. The good players are taken. So now that we're after the draft and we're going into the summer, our mentality has to shift from signing the best players to what are the last few gaps and holes in this roster. And I'm not talking gaps and holes like we need a receiver. No, you've got plenty of receivers. You got plenty of corners. You got plenty of everything right now. You have 90 guys on this roster. I'm talking about specific roles. And that's where Hilton could actually fill that specific role that the Falcons could be looking for, which is a nickel corner. I'm not interested in adding any corner. Atlanta has 2 good outside corners in AJ Terrell and Mike Hughes. But it's the inside job that is a bit of a question mark right now. And I completely agree with what Matt Bowen had to say about the fit with Raheem Morris, because I was curious, hey, where did Atlanta rank in terms of 3-corner usage last year? And so they had 4 cornerbacks finish with 400 or more snaps, 3 of which finished with 700 or more snaps. Now, surface level, that may not mean a whole lot to you. And it didn't mean a whole lot to me either, other than I thought that was kind of a big-ish number. So I decided to do a little bit of digging here. The Falcons were one of 5 teams that had 3 corners last year log 700 or more snaps. So as we discuss the possibility of adding another corner, we got to ask ourselves really just 2 questions. One, is there a need? Do the Falcons need a third corner? The answer is yes. That may not be true for other teams that predominantly toss out just 2 corners and 3 linebackers and not a lot of nickel defense. But Atlanta, as we saw, they do roll out a lot of 3-corner sets. So there is a need for a third corner, which then brings us to part 2 of the question. Is that third corner already on your roster? Or do you have to go shopping for it? That is what I want to spend the next half of today's video on. But I do want to get your thoughts on this. Should the Falcons add another corner? This is the pinned comment on today's episode. So do me a big favor. Scroll on down right now. Type a Y for yes or an N for no in the pinned comment while this YouTube ad break rolls. For me, I'm open to adding Hilton. I feel like Fontenot and a little bit of Morris, but more so Fontenot, feel the pressure of, I've been the GM of this team for 4 straight years. We have produced nothing but losing seasons. This team has not had a winning season since 2017. I have gave up a future first and a future 5th in next year's draft to maximize 2024. you're Fontenot, you might feel like I'm not leaving anything to chance. And I know there's a need for a third corner on this team because of the way Raheem runs this defense. So let's first look internally. There are 3 options at that nickel corner: Clark Phillips, Dee Alford, and the 4th-round pick out of Oklahoma, Billy Bowman. Those are the 3 first obvious candidates to fill that role. Now, we're going to have an awesome open battle between Phillips and Alford for that starting nickel job. Alford started there the last 2 years. He was good in 2023. Last year, took a step back. I felt like with the targets going his way a little bit more, sure, it resulted in an extra interception and some more pass breakups, but man, look at the touchdowns allowed. Those ballooned up last year as he was a liability in the secondary. Meanwhile, Phillips, a former 4th-round pick out of Utah, didn't see much action his rookie year in 2023. But last year, when Mike Hughes battled some injuries and when Alford was just not getting the job done, they turned to, at the time, the second-year corner. And I felt like Phillips had some good moments. He had some good impactful plays out there. I didn't see enough from Phillips to feel that I'm uberly confident in him being the starting nickel without any type of real competition brought in, which is why I think the Falcons didn't initially bring back Alford. But then as free agency rolled on and he was still available, his price probably dropped a little. I would say dropped. I think the Falcons just decided, hey, we're going to bring back someone who's familiar with our system because we couldn't really find an affordable upgrade elsewhere. So we gave it a shot. Let's go back to something familiar, someone who knows our defense, and someone who's going to compete for that starting job and won't walk into week 1 as the undoubted starter. I would like to see Clark Phillips win this job for 2 reasons. One, I don't have a vendetta against Dee Alford. But one, there's just always the upside of when you find a guy on his rookie contract who can start for you, I feel like internally that makes you feel better about long-term what you have at that position. 2, I watched Dee Alford start last year, and if he is the starter again this year, I'm not going to be very confident. And with the way Morris runs his defense, you got to have a good nickel corner, or else you're not going to be very successful. And last year, I did not get a lot of optimism about the success at that spot with Alford in it. So I would like to see in a perfect world Phillips emerge as the better of the 2 inside corners. Now, we're going to talk about 1 or 2 other candidates as well before we wrap up today's video. But if you want to get a Jalen Walker jersey or a James Pearce jersey, go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to have a brand new Falcons jersey for week 1 while supporting the first ever UGA Bulldogs selected in the first round of the draft by the Falcons, use chatsports.com/ATL rookies. Now, one name I'm going to toss out there because I'm sure someone's already commented it is Kobe Bryant, the UDFA out of Kansas, the 3-time first-team All-Big 12 player who had 13 career interceptions with the Jayhawks, including 4 touchdowns, a pick 6, a scoop and score, a blocked field goal. He did it all for Kansas in his 3 years as a starter in Lawrence. Him and Bowman are your 2 sleeper under-the-radar candidates, right? 2 guys that you should keep an eye on during training camp, during minicamp and OTAs as names that could surprise people. I won't say people. Names that could surprise the casuals out there, but you're not a casual because you're watching Falcons Today on May 19th, baby. So if that's a sleeper name or 2 you want, there it is. I am very on board with the idea of adding Hilton. I don't think it would cost you very much. I would like to see Phillips get the chance to earn the job, and if he can't do it, then you sign Hilton in August. But let's give one of these younger players OTAs, minicamp, and 1 preseason game to show this coaching staff they are capable of holding down the fort. And if they can't do it in that time period, then you go out and you get a proven commodity. But I don't think it's good for long-term roster development if every single time you got a young guy who's trying to prove himself to this coaching staff that he can start on this defense, you go out and you sign an 8-9 year veteran for a 1-year deal. You're just finding a Band-Aid for the problem. You're not addressing the problem. I want to see them address this problem by finding someone in-house. And it's all right if after making an attempt at it, you come up empty-handed. But make the attempt first. Before we sign off, let's pick a viewer from the comment section to give 2 claps to. Who's it going to be? Shout out going to... Looking good for Rudra Kassan. Rudra, thank you so much. 2 claps. 1, 2. Matt S. is having just a mental breakdown right now, saying how close he was. All right, I'll see everyone later.